Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today, we're gonna check another VR builds and tips, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So, for these particular VR builds, we're gonna be checking Felicia as our main character, and unfortunately, I am recording this just before the update, so you're not gonna be able to test this for a month, but I want to give you more F2P options. So even so, I'm gonna record it right now. For this particular build, you want to go to a stage that is not going to one shot you or two shot you because the enemy is going to be able to move and that's risky. But we're going to control the enemy a little bit. This is just a heavy slow strategy, it's not that super slow strategy because we're going to use F2P options here. Thus, we are limited on how much we can control the enemy. And as I mentioned, we're going to focus on Felicia. So, Felicia is a character who is very useful, but she has fallen after the arrival of Lapis. But she's still definitely viable. The thing is that she fulfills other roles. So number one, she's gonna be a healer, and that's why you use Vampiric Zone. Vampiric Zone has a very long cooldown, and it provides 6 seconds of heal with a debuff. Increases the duration of blood mark by 50%. That's gonna mean that you get 9 seconds. So half the time this is gonna be active, and the other half is gonna be on cooldown, which is not the best. But the idea is that we don't even need that much cooldown because we're gonna be abusing Slaying Spree. Slaying Spree you can use on mixed builds, but you want at least 2 green supporters. You can do without the third slot, and I'm doing it so that I show you an F2P build. But if you have more supporters that fall onto the green category, be sure to use them. That's a good option. And we're using Blood Sight just to get healing. I mean, you can substitute this for whatever you want. You can use the basic enhancers. You can use Rendering Sight. 7 health is not a good idea because it's a launching skill. And this one, Sanguine. Well, Smash. Smash is not a good option because it's a counter. That's why. Usable, but not the best. I mean, at least the effect is good here because you get a defense reduction of 30% on 10 seconds. So it's definitely strong, but you're gonna rely on the enemy attacking you. So depends on what you want to do. At the very least, use these two. These are the main ingredients on this build. So for weapons, use whatever weapon you have. The weapon doesn't really matter that much. I mean, this weapon is going to enhance my performance just by a little because it removes the debuffs of the enemy, which is the buffs of the enemy, which is nice. And the best weapon definitely is the one that I don't have. It's the character release weapon, which enhances damage to debuffed enemies. It is super good, and I don't have not a single copy of that one, but it is a great weapon. Also, do not sleep on Mata. I'm just gonna say Mata because this is going to be your anti-demon weapon and it's pretty useful. For Master Manning, unfortunately, your only viable option is going to be a green build. A red build is for damage and it works well on event stages, on tower, but not on content where there's critical resistance because as you can see, this is a critical enhance skill. It's doable-ish on Queen Kanaloa and LW's squad, but it's not the best option. And blue is great, but unless you go extremely tanky, it's not going to perform super well against Master Manning. It is good for things like LW's squad, Queen Kanaloa, Spider Queen, even no, those 3 you can use it on, but Master Manning can deal a ton of damage if you don't stop her. So that's why we want to use the green build. Then for supporters, we're gonna use Misaki. Super important because we're gonna enhance her healing capabilities, the healing capabilities of Felicia, as well as increasing her damage. We also have the generic Torajiro, and we have Galilim. In case you don't have that many options, you can always use Yachio and further enhance the healing capabilities of Felicia as a tank. Where is Yachio? I don't see Yachio. There she is. The thing is that you're gonna need particle charge, and for that, if you have the limited Micah, which most people do not have, then that's an option. But if not, you can use Momoko, and you would have a pure green build with Misaki, Yachio, and Momoko. So that's one thing. These are the stats of my customs, the stats of the stat training. Both weapon 5 out of 5, this one plus 15, this one plus 10. Anti-human wind magatamas because I'm using some, well, Slaying Spree is range and it's going to do a ton of multi-hits, that's why. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Then, on this slot, you can equip different characters depending on what you have. Any character with a slow is going to work. You can use Green Murasaki with Tentacle Anchor. You can use Emily with 2 red supporters, at the very least 2 red supporters, because her Ground Shock and Drone Shocker are gonna reduce the speed of the enemy. You can also use, where is Phantasma? Phantasma Blue is going to be able to reduce the speed of the enemy with Impaling Terror, with Slash Horror, and I think those are the 2 that can reduce. Oh yeah, and also Twister Dance. So it's becoming even better at controlling the enemy. Let's see. There's different options that can reduce the speed of the enemy. So keep an eye on any character that can reduce the speed to enhance this. My opinion is that Phantasma, Murasaki, and Emily are probably your best options because they are pretty aggressive on the slow department. For Murasaki, I put the Rudolph Crusher to represent a whatever weapon. It doesn't really matter what weapon you put here. If you have Coral Cliff, that's good, but it's not necessary. Go with a damage Magatames because you want to deal as much damage as possible and destroy the enemy as fast as possible. In this case, whatever weapon, 5 out of 5 plus 14, both of them, whatever Magatames. Tentacle Anchor, super important to stop the enemy. Tentacle Mine, again to reduce the speed of the enemy, though they are immobilized to some degree, they are still moving very slowly, but they are moving. So this is going to be doable because on other builds where you actually completely stop the enemy on their tracks, this doesn't work that much. And Senpu to heal. We also have another copy of Misaki. We have Barretta, and we have Ichika. Ichika is an old one, so maybe you don't have it. And if you don't have 2 copies of Misaki, you can do something different. Let's see. You can equip whatever you have that is green that enhances your performance. Hisu is going to help you tanking. Akane is good with damage. Nanami is there just to increase your healing. It's not the better option, but it's there. Punisher Yukikaze is a good option, but it is more than limited. It's just it has had one banner only. Let's see. You can equip who else? Um, mm, there's not that many options. Saika, Yachio, if you didn't equip it to Felicia, you can equip Lamarck. It isn't the best option, but it is something. Let's see. Heaviko is there, of course, if you have it. Lena is there. Phantasma. But those are limited, so the options are not that great. Of course, Vacation Murasaki. So, yeah, I do hope that you have enough supporters. You can go with other colors, as I mentioned. You can go with blue Phantasma. That would be easier if you don't have that many supporters for the same color. Enough for all your team to be green. And here I'm using a whatever character to deal damage. In this case, it's going to be Momochi Nagi. This weapon is 5 out of 5. Both of them are 5 out of 5 plus 13 plus 10. Water anti-human Magatemes, whatever Magatemes. Mirror's Strike to just deal damage. Scorpion to deal damage. Storm to heal, just in case. With Haruka, Arabella, and Asagi. If you have something that deals damage, that's better. Like maybe Asusa. Asusa gives you speed, but also penetration, and that's good. White is a great option. New Year Kawaru. Whatever you have is fine as long as you are able to increase your damage. I just use this as filler because it's kinda F2P. Let's see. Stats from the customs, stats from the stat training, and yeah. Well, let's. Oh, did I do that for Murasaki? These are the stats and the stats. So let's do a run. As I mentioned, you want to be on a stage when you do not get killed that easily, because Felicia is going to be able to heal you and you're going to stop the enemy. Well, not like super stop, but stop enough. Yeah, this is not using, for example, what's the name? I'm not using. I forgot. Phantasma, character release Phantasma, which is also a very good supporter for slowing enemies. And Undomitable Fuba Tokiko. That's a red one that you can use to reduce the speed of the enemies. And we just stop the enemy over here. Yeah. Be sure to do this. I mean, you can try to progress with this kind of a strategy, but don't overdo it. This is not like the build that I did with Oboro that was on step 100 with SR supporters. I strongly recommend you do not go beyond what you feel comfortable with this specific build, because the enemy is going to be, if it has too much HP, there's going to be moments where they're able to move or they manage to launch an attack, and if they have enough damage, they're going to kill you. So don't. Be super careful whenever you use this kind of a strategy. I'm going to do another run very quick. Let's see, I just do this and this. I will use Phantasma. Phantasma gives you extra benefits. I mean, Emily is a very good one, but I have already mentioned that there's certain characters that every account should have or try to get at the beginning, because those are very strong. Astro as a damage dealer, Murasaki as challenge solo challenge content kind of character, because this can clear any kind of challenging content by herself as long as she's green. Shisui to auto farm, Emily to auto farm, Oboro to just trivialize challenging content and BR. Lapis because of her healing capabilities. Phantasma because of her supportive capabilities and damage capabilities. It is super good. So those you should definitely use. And we're going to use Phantasma. If you have Phantasma, what can you do? We're going to use this weapon, but it doesn't matter. It's a beat stick as long as we don't go green. And we're not going green. So I put the anti-human Magatamas over here. I just... there. And whatever Magatamas. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, both 5 out of 5, plus 15, plus 13, anti-human Magatamas. For skills, we're going to be using Slash Horror, Twister Dance, and Impaling Terror, as we mentioned. And we go blue, so we're going to use, obviously, the Marvelous Haruka. Mido Haruka is just great. We can use our favorite Arabella. And since she's no, she's suppressed. Since she's a demon, you can use. There's many options for demons in blue. Uh, you can use white. You can use who else? Kirara. Well, there aren't that many. Oh yeah, Hebico. You can use Hebico. That's also a great option. So in my case, what is F2P from this? I mean, I can just add this just cause it's not gonna give me that much benefit. In fact, other than the HP, and if there was an emergency, this would help me out with survivability. But you can also do that with Akina. I'll just add Akina. Yeah, and I'm gonna change the custom just cause. There. So yeah, it's gonna be the same. Use whichever main attacker you want. And remember, this is basically the only good option on uh, with Felicia against Max Taimanin. Red is definitely not viable. Sorry, it doesn't have the utility, and it cannot crit. So that's one thing. And oof, that's why I put Akina. And blue, while good and it's going to keep you alive, you really need to build a team that uses those balance supporters that give you both damage increase and damage reduction with your whole team, so that you're able to both tank and attack. Because that way, Felicia is going to be able to inflict her mark with her main blue skill. Let's see. Yeah, it's still not recommended, guys, that you try to use blue on this specific VR, but you can. You use Evil Strange, Vampiric Zone, and whatever skill that you want. Let's see, not this one. I would use a basic enhancer or maybe Blood Sight along with these two. Then you equip whatever blue supporters you want with Felicia, and you have. And for your other teammates, you would need things that give you both damage increase and damage reduction. Let's say Hebico, if I'm able to find Hebico. Well, I said Hebico, so you know which one. Hebico. Momochi Nagi is another great option. Uh, which other one? I'm checking, guys. I'm checking. Mizuki Shiranui, New Year Mizuki Shiranui is another great option for that kind of build. You can use. Technically, now is an option because Mastermind buff herself, but it isn't the most consistent thing because she doesn't abuse the buffs. You can use Gal Lilim, for example. Gal Lilim. You can use New Year Hebico. What else? Technically, Momochi Nagi isn't a bad option because you get a damage reduction with this part and the speed increase that's going to help you out. You can use Furfur, of course. You can use the Founding 3. So, and of course, the absolute menace Mido Haruka. That's super easy to build and super great. So, yeah. So, I hope you find this useful. Though Felicia has fallen a little bit, she's still usable, guys. I wouldn't call her weak, it's just not optimal right now. And we have to wait for her renewal, which will probably do some good changes to her kit. So, that's about it for today, guys. I hope you find this useful, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!